Are you sad, empty, and feeling like life has lost its zest? Then stick around because today we're going to be talking about what potentially could be at the very root of these feelings and how a fresh perspective can change your life. My name is Franco, and this is the podcast where we bring a little bit more meaning, a little bit more faith, and a lot more hope to everyday life. Okay, you're feeling sad, lonely, and you feel like that zest for life is gone. Here's three things we will be discussing that I hope helps in your journey. Number one, we first have to understand what we're made of, right? So, in the same way a doctor needs to know how a body works in order for him or her to give a diagnosis, in the very same way a mechanic needs to know how a car runs before him or her can fix it, we first must understand how or what we are made up of. And those are three things: a physical body, our mind, and a spirit. Now, the spirit is the important part. All right. Not a lot of people know or agree that we may have a spirit, but the truth is we do have a spirit. So, you will know this if your physical life is good. You're eating well, you're exercising, your mind is good, your mind is sharp, you're reading, you are doing some critical thinking, you're doing well in work, but for some reason you still feel like you're stuck, like you're in a rut, like life's meaningless. It's a little bit dull, there's no color in your life, you don't know where you're going, you have no purpose, you're full of anxiety. And the reason is that your spirit is hungry. Your spirit, the truth is this, is either malnourished or you are spiritually dead. So what do, right? That brings me to my next point. Stop working from the outside in. What do I mean by that? If you are spiritually dead or hungry, you tend to do things that bring you life. Why? Because the spirit needs life to live. There are things that give life but aren't the source of life. What do I mean by that? So the things that give life are things like going out with your friends, having fun, traveling, doing what makes you happy. Now, these are all good, really great things, but the problem there is if you try to do things that make you happy with the sole purpose of filling your life or your spirit with life, you're going to be disappointed. Why? Because these things, although it's good, these things cannot give you a infinite amount and source of life. You'll always run out. What do I mean by that? So, for example, let's say our life or our bodies or ourselves are like this pen, right? When our spirit runs out of juice or runs out of life, which we had a lot of when we were kids and even in college, but when life hits you, that thing kind of just goes away. So imagine if you run out of ink, you run out of life, or your spirit is absolutely drained, what happens? You have no more ink. And this is what, as we human beings tend to do. We find things that bring life. So for example, if this is an ink pad, let's pretend all the experiences that we have are going out with friends, hanging out with family, traveling, all these things that make us happy, we try to use to fill up this pen with ink, fill our lives up with a spirit. So what we do is we rub our pen on these experiences. We rub our pen on all these different things. And what happens is when we start writing and working and doing things in our lives that require energy, eventually the ink that we get from these things, they run out. Why? Because the ink is only in the tip of the pen. So we know that the solution here is we have to figure out a way to see if we can refill this pen with ink. And not just any ink. We want to refill this pen with the ink that never runs out. So point number three is this. Point number three, and I want you guys to stick with me. Please don't click next. I want you guys to stay with me here. Point number three is this. Feed your spirit with life himself. In the book of John, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So what Jesus is saying here is he is the way. He's not just a way. He's not just a truth. He is the truth. And lastly, he is not just a life or just gives life. He is life itself. So he is the absolute solution to having an infinite source of love, joy, peace, and life. Now, how do we attain this? Stick with me here. Also in the book of John, Jesus says, A lot of you Filipinos have heard this verse for sure in Mass or in church. Jesus says this in the book of John, chapter 6. He says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in yourselves. For my flesh is true food, and my blood is true drink." If you notice here, Jesus is using these types of words, food and drink, for what? Our spirit. Right? In the same way, we need real food, physical food, and real drink, physical drink for our bodies. We too must need this, quote unquote, flesh is true food and blood is true drink type of sustenance. But obviously, this is a weird thing to say. How can we eat someone's flesh and drink their blood? Aha! So we're going to connect this to another verse in the book of John, in the very beginning, in John chapter 1. In John chapter 1, this is what it says. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh." There's that word. "And dwelt among us." Now, who is this Word, right? This Word we know is in the beginning. This Word we know was with God, but this Word we know was also God. And here comes the ultimate clue. The Word became flesh. Now, this Word of God that became flesh, this is Jesus. So if you go back to John chapter 6, where Jesus says, "My flesh is true food and my blood is true drink," he is saying that if you read the Word of God, if you feast on the Word of God, which is his flesh, then you will have life. Jesus says, remember, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Not a life, not some life, but he is life itself. My challenge to you, my brothers and sisters, if you are feeling sad, lonely, alone, and that color just went away in life, and you're willing to try something different, this new perspective, this fresh perspective, this biblical perspective, this way of God, I challenge you guys, read the Bible, right? I hope today made sense, because I'm telling you right now, he is the way, he is the truth, he is the life. You have nothing to lose. You're not subscribing to anything. There's not going to be a monthly payment for this. You're not losing anything. So I challenge you, if you have nothing to lose, why not give it a shot, right? My name is Franco, and I really, really, really pray that I brought a little bit of meaning, a little bit of faith, and a lot of hope into your everyday life. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next one.